Hello everyone. Welcome back. Today, we've got some crucial news you don't want to miss. Let's dive right into the top financial headlines and break down what's happening. US bond yields dip amid shortened Black Friday trading. What's next for the Fed? Understanding shortened trading days. Today marked a shortened trading session in the US due to Black Friday, with markets closing 3 hours early at noon. This early closure also occurs on Christmas Eve, another holiday where traders log off early. Typically, these shortened days see lower trading volumes as market participants focus more on holiday festivities than financial moves. Market moves. US Treasury yields hit October lows. According to a CNBC report, the 10-year Treasury yield fell by 3 basis points, settling at 4.211%, the lowest since October. The 2-year Treasury yield also dropped 3 basis points to 4.182%. It's worth noting that bond prices and yields move inversely. When bond prices rise, yields fall. However, despite these US bond movements, the real buzz in the global financial landscape today centered on Chinese government bonds. Why China's bond market is the global focus? Surprisingly, international investors are fixated on China's bond yields. While the US 10-year Treasury yield stands at 4.2%, China's equivalent is a mere 2.11%. This significant gap has caught the attention of analysts worldwide. The situation with Chinese bonds is complex, and domestic Chinese audiences may not be fully aware of the looming issues due to a controlled narrative. The stark contrast between US and Chinese bond yields raises questions about underlying economic pressures in China. In the coming days, I'll dive deeper into what's happening in China's bond market and why global markets are keeping a close eye on it. What's next for the Fed? As we near the next Federal Reserve meeting in December, speculation about a potential rate cut is heating up. According to the latest CME Group survey, 66.3% of traders expect the Fed to cut rates by 25 basis points in December. 33.7% believe the Fed will pause rate cuts altogether. Despite recent comments from Fed officials emphasizing a cautious approach to easing rates, Wall Street remains optimistic about a December cut. The divide between what the Fed signals and what traders anticipate reflects the ongoing tug-of-war between policymakers and market expectations. Final thoughts. It's fascinating to see how market sentiment can diverge from central bank messaging. The next 2 weeks will be crucial in shaping expectations for the Fed's next move. Will they stick to their dovish path, or will mounting inflation concerns force a pause? Stay tuned as the story unfolds. And don't forget, China's bond market could also play a significant role in shaping global sentiment moving forward. Next, let's focus on the situation in Syria. Syria's sudden shift. What's behind the latest uprising? Let's dive into a fascinating report from Al Jazeera titled "Rebel Groups Launch Attacks on Syria's Aleppo City." If you haven't been following the news, major developments have erupted in Syria since Wednesday, sparking a rapid escalation in the conflict. Strangely, while this is monumental in the Middle East, Western media has largely downplayed it. The coverage exists but rarely makes headlines. In contrast, Middle Eastern outlets and commentators, particularly in Israel, are closely tracking and even celebrating these developments. A breakdown of the offensive. Al Jazeera reports that the opposition group, led by the SAM Liberation Organization, has launched a large-scale offensive targeting Aleppo and Idlib. The strategic objective? To dismantle Assad's regime entirely. This isn't just a minor skirmish, it's a full-scale attempt to seize power. The fighting has escalated to the outskirts of Aleppo, Syria's second-largest city. According to Al Jazeera, opposition forces have advanced nearly 10 kilometers, closing in on towns controlled by Iran-backed Hezbollah fighters. This is significant because Aleppo's surrounding areas have been under Assad's control for years. Who's backing whom? A key point in Al Jazeera's coverage is the suggestion that Qatar and Saudi Arabia are funding the opposition. Iran, predictably, is backing Assad's forces and has labeled the offensive a foreign-backed conspiracy. While these claims are worth scrutiny, the regional power dynamics align with such accusations. Israel's role, however, is intriguing. Israeli media and social media users seem unusually well informed, with accurate predictions of the opposition's next moves. The excitement in Israeli circles, coupled with reports of clashes involving Hezbollah and Russian forces, suggests that Israel may be indirectly supporting the rebels. Why is Western media quiet? One of the most striking aspects of this story is the muted response from Western media. Why aren't they amplifying such a significant development? A likely explanation is the U.S. designation of the SAM Liberation Organization as a terrorist group. Despite Western animosity toward Assad, it's tricky to publicly back an organization still labeled as a terrorist entity. Interestingly, the SAM Liberation Organization has been distancing itself from extremist groups like Al-Qaeda, attempting to rebrand as a more moderate force. This rebranding effort could influence how the conflict, and their role in it, shapes up in the coming weeks. Key takeaways. Potential Israeli involvement. While not confirmed, Israel's enthusiastic coverage and accurate predictions suggest a possible role in supporting the opposition. Western hesitation. The terrorist designation complicates Western support, even though there's clear opposition to Assad. A carefully planned offensive. This isn't a spontaneous uprising. The opposition's strategic moves indicate months of planning, suggesting external support and coordination. Syria's unfolding crisis is one to watch. Will the opposition's gains hold, and how will regional powers like Israel, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia influence the outcome? And what role, if any, will the US play behind the scenes? For now, the situation remains fluid and highly unpredictable. Next, let's find out how TikTok turned Trump around, the inside story of lobbying and influence. A fascinating Wall Street Journal report sheds light on how TikTok, once squarely in Donald Trump's crosshairs, managed to turn the tide and secure his support. It's a tale of lobbying, political connections, and strategic maneuvering that reveals just how deep corporate influence runs in American politics. The early ban threat. During Trump's first term, he vowed to ban TikTok, citing national security concerns over its ties to China's ByteDance. The situation seemed set in stone until his recent pivot. Not only did he drop the ban threat, but he also opened his own TikTok account. What changed? According to Wall Street Journal, a combination of strategic lobbying and political donations shifted Trump's stance. The key players. At the center of this effort is Tony Sayegh, a former Treasury Department official under Trump and now a public affairs executive for ByteDance major U.S. investor, General Atlantic. Sayegh's insider connections, especially with Trump's former Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, gave him direct access to Trump's circle. Strategic moves. 1. Targeting the Trump circle, Sayegh cultivated relationships with key figures in Trump's inner circle, including Ivanka Trump, Jared Kushner, and Donald Trump Jr. This proximity gave him leverage to influence Trump's opinion on TikTok. 2. Big money donations. Two major U.S. investors in ByteDance, Jeff Yass and Bill Ford, poured significant funds into Trump's re-election campaign and the Republican Party. These donations helped Sayegh secure a prominent role in Trump's campaign, granting him direct influence. 3. Engaging Democratic allies. On the Democratic side, Sayegh enlisted top Obama advisors, including David Plouffe and Jim Messina, to temper the Biden administration's stance on TikTok. These efforts included lobbying Democratic lawmakers and donating to key campaigns. Shifting the political landscape. Despite bipartisan pressure earlier this year, including a bill to ban TikTok unless it severed ties with China, Sayegh's efforts have delayed decisive action. TikTok even filed a lawsuit against the legislation, with a key court decision expected soon. The stakes are high. If the court sides against TikTok, it faces a ban or forced divestiture by January 19, just one day before Trump's inauguration. What's next? The report highlights how ByteDance played both sides of the political aisle, leveraging connections and donations to influence policy. This strategy not only secured a shift in Trump's stance but also stabilized TikTok's position under the Biden administration. Key takeaways. Corporate influence. This story underscores how major corporations navigate U.S. politics, using well-connected lobbyists and strategic donations to shape outcomes. Bipartisan engagement. TikTok's strategy of engaging both parties highlights the importance of hedging political bets in a divided government. Implications for U.S. policy. The success of TikTok's lobbying raises broader concerns about foreign influence and the vulnerabilities in America's political system. As the court decision looms, all eyes are on TikTok's next moves, and whether its well-orchestrated lobbying campaign will secure its future in the US. The broader question remains, how will Washington address the growing entanglement of corporate and political interests? Finally, we focus on a serious topic: assisted dying. UK Parliament takes a major step toward legalizing assisted dying. What's next? A Reuters report today details a significant milestone in the UK's debate over assisted dying. British lawmakers have given initial approval to a bill that would legalize assisted dying under strict conditions. The legislation has sparked widespread discussion, highlighting ethical questions about dignity, choice, and the right to die. Key provisions of the proposed bill. In a vote held today, 330 MPs supported the bill, with 275 opposed. The legislation outlines clear parameters, eligibility criteria. The law would apply to mentally sound adults in England and Wales diagnosed with terminal illnesses. Time frame: only those with 6 months or less to live, as certified by a doctor, would qualify for assisted dying. Medical oversight: the process would require thorough medical evaluation and approval by healthcare professionals. This vote sets the stage for more detailed debates and potential amendments in both the elected House of Commons and the appointed House of Lords. Proponents, like Labour MP Kim D. Brett, emphasise the importance of careful scrutiny, noting that the process could take at least 6 months. A global debate on the right to die. Assisted dying is a contentious issue worldwide, with debates often centered on the balance between compassion and protection against abuse. Countries like Canada, Belgium, and the Netherlands have already legalized forms of assisted dying, and the UK's progress could inspire similar discussions elsewhere. A step toward compassionate care, or a slippery slope. Supporters argue that assisted dying laws provide a compassionate option for those suffering from unbearable pain in their final days. They highlight the importance of respecting individual autonomy and ensuring people can die with dignity. However, the issue is not without controversy. Ethical considerations: opponents worry about potential abuses and the moral implications of legalizing euthanasia. Strict safeguards: ensuring that only those who meet rigorous criteria can access assisted dying is critical. The UK's proposed bill emphasises mental competency and terminal illness as key factors, mirroring safeguards in other countries. Broader implications. The UK's move is likely to have a ripple effect, influencing global conversations about assisted dying. While compassionate care is central to the debate, the legal framework must be watertight to prevent misuse. For instance, recent debates in China over a social media influencer's decision to seek assisted dying in Switzerland highlighted the complexities. In the UK's proposed system, such a case might not qualify, as the person would need a terminal diagnosis with 6 months or less to live. Final thoughts. Legalizing assisted dying represents a significant step in modernizing end-of-life care. However, lawmakers must strike a delicate balance between compassion and caution. This evolving conversation, both in the UK and globally, will undoubtedly shape how societies view life, death, and dignity in the years to come. That's all for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more updates. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.